How would you respond? I suspect I know how, but how would you respond? So people say, look, we don't understand the origin of life on Earth, and therefore God must have done it.
Even theologians don't buy that. I mean, sophisticated theologians, but it's what they call a God of the gaps argument. It's pushing God into the few remaining gaps in our understanding.
God of gaps. I see. So just because science didn't discover the cause of the universe, then we have a scientific gap, and the believers of God want to fill this gap somehow. So they invented God to fill this gap with the belief that God created this universe. This is a common objection put forth by the atheists because they cannot explain the origin of life in Earth. So they invented the concept of God of gap as a response, and failed to realize that this concept has many illogicalities. Number one, when atheism put forth this objection, they are admitting that they don't have an explanation for the origin of the universe. Therefore, we have a scientific gap. But one day, in the future, scientific progress will find the origin of the universe and refuse the design argument. In other words, they are saying that they have blind faith in science. At the same time, they criticize the believer for having faith. Notice the double standard. Number two, with the hope that one day science will close this gap of finding the cause of the universe, and this will fill the gap. As a matter of fact, science does not always close the gap, but rather widen them. How many times with science, as soon as we answer one question, 10 more questions comes up? For instance, the DNA was discovered in 1968, and upon that discovery, many questions came up that scientists until now are trying to answer. So we don't close the gap all the time with science. Number three, we have to know the limitation of science, as science cannot answer all questions in the world because it works based on metaphysical terms, meaning science works through testing, experiments, observable things. Therefore, science cannot answer questions that cannot be tested. Science failed to answer how humans are morals, the fine-tuning of the universe, the beginning of the universe, and the emergence of human consciousness. Finally, this gap, according to the atheist, will always be empty. You can fill it only with either one of two things. Number one, recognizing that all-powerful, almighty, all-wise God, who is unlike his creation, created this world and created you for a purpose on this earth, or you could fill it with your arrogance of disbelief. If you have questions about Islam, ask a Muslim.